Welcome to Science with the Scurrys with Charles
and Drea. So today we have a special experiment. We have a special day coming up too. Do you know what day it is?
Can I make a guess?
Yeah.
Is it teachers go back to school day to see their kids that they want to hug and love so much?
No. But it is an awesome day. So Easter is coming up.
Oh yeah.
And you know, you got the Easter bunny, you have Easter egg hunts and all these wonderful things. So we decided that we're gonna do an experiment on Easter eggs. So it's called...
An Easter egg hunt?
No. It's called the Mystery Egg Experiment.
Ooh. Say that 3 times fast. Mystery egg experiment. Mystery egg. That's not that hard.
That's not that bad. So, for this experiment, we're gonna question how do eggs react in vinegar over a few days?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'll wait to respond when I'm making my hypothesis, but how do eggs react to vinegar over a few days? I don't know.
I have no idea how this works. And so we're just gonna do this and see how this happens. All right, so first things first, we have to go through our materials.
What are we using for the mystery egg experiment?
So, like I said, you have to have vinegar. So we have our vinegar. And of course, without the experiment, we have to have eggs. We have our containers to put the eggs in.
Making sure that they're clear so you can observe them every day.
And then we're adding this to the experiment. Since it's Easter, we have some food coloring that we're just going to add to the vinegar, and hopefully we'll see if it changes the color of the egg. If not, who knows.
This is like a Charles and Drea special just because we want to have fun.
Yeah. So, all right. So the next thing that we'll do is list our procedures.
Damn.
So the first thing that we'll do is place the egg in the container.
Easy peasy. Second step we're going to do is we're going to fill the containers until they completely cover the eggs with vinegar.
And then the last step, we're going to place some food coloring or dye into the container and just swirl it around just to make sure that we can get the whole container filled with that color and let it sit.
Literally, that's the rest we do is just observe.
Yep.
So I guess now that we have listed our essential question, what happens to eggs when they react with vinegar over the course of a few days, we've listed our materials, we've listed the procedures, what we are going to do. Now we need to make our
hypothesis. This is going to be hard because, like I said earlier, I have no idea what this experiment is about. So I just think the egg is going to turn the color of the dye that we're...
That makes sense because that's like dyeing Easter eggs. That's what we do with our families.
Every Easter.
Well, I'm going to make mine a little spicy.
Okay.
My hypothesis, since the title of the experiment is Mystery Egg, I'm going to predict that the egg is going to fizz up a little bit and maybe it'll be light as a feather. I don't know.
That could
I'm just going out there. Why not? It's a mystery.
That's a good hypothesis. All right. Well, you guys kind of think of what your hypothesis is going to be, and then write that down or just put it up in your brain, and then start the experiment.
Here we go.
All right. Let's go.
Here we go. And make sure you gently place the eggs in the container. Over the course of a few days, you want to make sure that there's no cracks in the shell or anything like that because it will affect the experiment.
Yes.
While you're doing that, I'm going to pick my color. I was really hoping for some neon colors, but I think I might try to do like a little purple action going on. I'm going to mix the red and the blue in my cup. Charles, what color are you thinking about using?
Well, there's no brown. I'm a bit fan of the color brown. So I might just use yellow. It's closest thing to gold.
Here you go. That's not bad. So I guess For the last container, we could use just like green.
I think we should put all the colors in there.
Ooh, okay. That's like that is a true mystery egg.
It is.
All right, so got my drops. Probably don't need that much. Boop. Okay, and just like Charles said, I'm gonna give it a little swirl. Well, wasn't as purple as I thought. Maybe let me get a couple other drops, some extra drops.
And be careful when you're stirring this. You don't want to you don't want to crack anything on the egg or have an opening.
Yeah, that would not be fun, guys.
No.
Just because I'm getting a little trigger happy with the food dye. Give it another little swirl. You know what? I'm not sure if it's purple. However, I think it'll look cool.
Also, I just figured this out. If you cut yourself on your finger and dip it into this vinegar, it's going to sting. So make sure if you do stir with your finger that you don't have any open cuts.
I'm going to put, I hope I didn't get color on myself. I'm going to put 2 red and 2 blue. Ooh, excuse me. Charles is doing more than 2. And now I have a reddish blue finger. Give it a little swirl, swirl, swirl. That's going to be an interesting looking egg, for sure.
I think it's going to be brown. That's my plan.
So now we see what his actual master plan was.
Alright. So now we'll just wait and come back tomorrow and take a look and observe and see what we have.
See you tomorrow. Day 2.
Woo. Day 2.
He's getting smoother and smoother by the try, I'm telling you.
All right, so it's day 2, so that means now we have to kind of observe what we see so far, and then we have to put a new batch of vinegar in, okay?
Yes. Now, I don't know about you, but these are some interesting observations I'm having.
They look ugly, by the way.
They are very ugly.
As you can see in the containers, a lot of foam has started producing, a lot of bubbles. It kind of looks like soap, and then just things of that nature. The egg itself looks bigger.
It does look like it's expanded a bit. Yeah, for sure. You can tell that the food coloring really stuck to the egg, kind of like dyeing Easter eggs. And we haven't grabbed the egg just yet, but I can say already just...
Well, you're touching it, so it's the closest thing to grabbing. So she's cheating.
The touch is very smooth. It almost kind of feels like the shell kind of dissolved a little bit. It kind of feels like a soft-boiled egg. Makes me want to have some ramen noodles.
That would have been my first thought. But so next up, we're going to replace the vinegar. So bear with us while we complete this task.
So we're going to really use some teamwork for this. I'm going to get paper towels, just because cleanliness is next to godliness. Boom. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gently grab my beautiful purple egg, and Charles is going to dump out the vinegar and replace it with new ones. Now, while he's doing that, this egg, y'all, it definitely has expanded, but it feels like there's like liquid involved, and the shell is definitely gone. The shell must have dissolved with the vinegar. That's so super cool. As you can see, it is a little purple. When you are pulling at the egg, you do want to be super careful and gentle because it does seem very fragile to the touch. So he's pouring me a fresh batch of vinegar. I'm gonna carefully submerge the egg in the vinegar, making sure not to get any cracks. And then I'm also going to put my food coloring back in to see if that makes any difference. Once I do that, Charles is going to do his beautiful golden yellow egg. And then we'll do our mystery color egg. Remember after that, Charles was saying to swirl the food coloring around with your finger. And now with our new egg, I'm gonna make sure to be super gentle with it. And voila. We'll observe it for another, we'll wait for another 24 hours and then come back to observe.
Alright, so now that we've replaced the vinegar and put our eggs back in and put the new dye in, we're going to let it sit for another 24 hours and then we're going to come back and observe again to see if there were any more changes made to the egg. Make sure you do the same, comment or write down what your observations are, and then wait the 24 hours and we'll see you then.
Boom! Bye guys! It's day 3! Time to make our observations. Someone thinks they're a detective.
There we go.
Alright, so it's been sitting for another 24 hours.
So that's 48 hours in total. Now we're just going to, like we did yesterday, just check up on them and kind of observe to see if anything changed or if things stayed the same. We're not sure. So Dre is going to lead the way.
Yeah, as you can see, there's still bubbles that are kind of forming around the rim, but it's not as many bubbles as we saw yesterday. Now it's kind of seeming to like form like a hard crust. Do you want to touch it this time?
Yep, it works out.
I'm going to be a little bit more brave and just say, I think the egg has expanded a little bit. Expand means to stretch out. And it still feels kind of soft, almost like a hard-boiled egg kind of texture. So
let me check real quick.
now he's going to be brave. Here we go.
That might not be. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a huge hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, it does.
So now we just wait.
Wait another day and we'll come back tomorrow.
See you for day 4.
Write down your observations and make sure you take note of them.
It's day
4.
I think these entrances are becoming a thing now.
Yes, they are. I just wanted to do something a little crazy. Get me moving during this quarantine.
Understandable.
You know? So
It's almost Easter.
yeah, it is.
Might as well be exciting. Okay.
All right. So day 4 is the last day of the experiment. So now we get to finally pull out the eggs and see what happens. For you all at home, you can go an extra 24 hours if you want, just to kind of see what happens.
We're just impatient big kids and kind of
Yeah.
want to see what happens now.
Exactly. So we're gonna pull out the eggs and observe and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is after we take the eggs out, we're going to rinse them off with warm water. We don't need the vinegar anymore, so we're going to dump out the vinegar from the bowls, rinse that egg with warm water, and then observe to see what's the mystery with this egg.
Yes.
Wow, these look so cool.
Listen, I already got names for all of them. So this one, what's
Her name is Violet.
Violet.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna call it Sun Kiss.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah. And this, we decided it's just like a dinosaur egg.
We'll call it Dino.
Yeah.
Because look how cool it it is.
It's the good dinosaur.
Yeah, the good dinosaur. I like that one.
Now it is time to test our experiment. We told you that at the beginning that this was called the mystery egg experiment. So now here's what the mystery is.
We are going to take the eggs that have been sitting in vinegar for a while and see if they can bounce from a relatively low height.
I don't know how this is going to turn out. So
I don't know either, but I'm
really
so
fun.
excited.
Really
so now our mystery egg experiment has been changed to the bouncy egg experiment. So let's test to see if our delicate egg will bounce. You ready? I'm so scared.
I'm not using my egg because I like it too much.
Okay, you go first. I'm scared. Oh, it did. It's like a bouncy ball. Guys,
Yeah.
this is so cool. It does bounce. You want to see how like high we can bounce it from?
I guess so. Let's
You want to try with Sunkiss?
No, not yet. Not yet. We'll try with the ugly one first.
Wow, we're getting a little bit higher. Well, that's a cool part of the experiment.
So you know how high not to take it, but
But they should test at home. See how
Yeah.
high see how high you can drop your egg and from what height or what distance it bounces. That is so cool.
ours is about less than a foot up. so
Yeah, that's
wasn't
really
too
neat.
bad, yeah.
All right, Charles, now it's time to test Sunkiss.
Gotcha. April Fools. All right, we're not going to test Sunkiss. As you can see, this is too precious of an egg. It looks like an Easter egg, and I feel like I'm gonna use it. Well, we can't use it for Easter egg hunt, but
I'm assuming
I
he's
just
established
don't want
a close
to.
relationship
I
with
just don't
Sunkiss.
want to ruin this egg, so I'm gonna leave this to the side.
Well, we tested the bouncy egg experiment. Now what, Charles?
Now it's time for the conclusion.
Yes, in our conclusion, we're going to talk about why these things happened. Well, first of all, someone's really intrigued. A shell of an egg is made up, the hard part, it's made up of something called calcium carbonate. And what we just did is when we submerged the egg into the vinegar, we created a chemical reaction.
Yes.
Like one of those vocabulary words that we talked about in our previous science experiment.
Yeah.
So what was the chemical reaction that happened?
So the chemical reaction that happened was the creation of carbon dioxide.
What?
Yeah.
We heard
So,
that word before.
We did. We tested it out last week, but this week it was a different materials that caused it. This time, the shell of the egg is made up of calcium carbonate, and that reacted with the vinegar, making the bubbles that you saw in the first couple days.
Yeah, that was like the rim. The bubbles was the chemical reaction between the vinegar and the calcium carbonate. That's so cool.
Yeah, and so basically it dissolved the whole shell of the egg and just kind of poof.
That
just
carbon
left it up in the
dioxide made it
bubbles.
go. It was like, psh, bye, get
Yeah.
out of here.
So, after the shell dissolved and went away, the egg continued to expand for some reason. Would you like to take a guess why?
Why do you think it expanded still with no shell?
Well, the answer is the egg started to absorb the vinegar. And so now we're left with this huge thing of an egg.
And what's around the egg right now is called the semi-permeable membrane. That means that the vinegar was able to permeate, that means to go through, and the egg absorbed that vinegar, and that's how kind of it expanded. And Charles and I were talking about it earlier. He was wanting to know, is the yolk still there?
And yes, the yolk is still here. We're gonna do a zoom in so you can see.
Yes, what we're left with is what's called the semi-permeable membrane. So Charles was talking about the vinegar was absorbed. Yes, that's how it expanded. And this smooth outer layer of the egg is called the semi-permeable. Looks like just your average yellow yolk from a regular egg. So the yolk is perfectly intact. Isn't that so cool?
It is. I definitely did not see this experiment going this way, so I definitely learned something.
Yeah, let's kind of talk about a few words that we did learn. We learned that word carbon dioxide again.
Yes, we did. And we also learned that eggs are made up of calcium carbonate, that outer shell, is made of calcium carbonate.
Yeah, we also learned, to tag along with that calcium carbonate, that vinegar and calcium carbonate cause a chemical reaction, making that carbon dioxide that we talked about in the past.
And then we also learned that under that calcium carbonate, the membrane of the egg is called
the semi-permeable membrane.
Yes.
Your science teachers are going to love you.
Yeah, they are. So this wraps up our experiment for this week. Take pictures, send them in if you would like, and make sure you use food coloring so you can name your eggs when you're doing this experiment. Other than that, you guys have a great week.
Hope y'all like the bouncy egg experiment.
Happy Easter.